Hello, you are listening to the Natural Healing Show for UK Health Radio. I'm your host, Catherine Carrigan, medical intuitive healer and Amazon #1 bestselling author. You can find out more about me and my work at catherinecarrigan.com and unlimitedenergynow.com. While you're there, definitely sign up for my newsletter so you can learn even more about how to heal yourself naturally. Now, our guest today is Daniel Metraux. Daniel is an energy healer, and you can find out more about Daniel Metraux and his work at danielthehealer.com. Welcome, Daniel Metraux.
Hello, hello. Nice being with you, Catherine. I enjoy this a lot. Thank you.
Now, Daniel Metraux, you and I both do energy healing, and there's many forms of energy healing that we talk about here on the Natural Healing Show. And when you do energy healing, you're working on the energy field. What exactly is the energy field? How can we explain that to our audience?
All right. So we function on 4 different levels simultaneously. We function on the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual/energetic. So the energy field is really the part of you that holds the essence of who you are, because you are not a physical being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. And as a spiritual being, basically between lifetimes, you live in the eternal now, and you do not have a body. You are a shape of energy. And so when you come here into the physical, you bring your energies along and attach these to this little body that has been prepared by your parents. And so that is the energy field.
Now, Daniel, when I do medical intuitive readings, I read the physical body, we know what that is, the energy body, which I'm going to come to in a minute, the emotional body, the mental, and the spiritual body. In my understanding, the energy body includes your chakras, your breath, and the acupuncture system. So, again, can you share a little bit more for our audience about what the energy field is from a layering point of view?
Well, of course, you talked about the chakras, yes, but there's also an aura, which is kind of an egg-shaped shape in which you reside. It should be mostly egg-shaped, because that is a very strong form where you are protected. If your energy, if your boundaries of your aura are not egg-shaped, then others can reach in and do things with you. And the aura itself is divided into 7 layers. Beyond that is the etheric body. And the layers, I don't know them all because I don't work with them, but the closest layer that just kind of hovers an inch or two outside of your skin, that is the physical, the representation of the physical body. Then comes an emotional layer right outside of that. Then comes a mental layer. And then finally, there's 4 other layers, which I don't work with.
Yes. Now, I want to point out for our audience that it's a law of physics that anytime there's a vertical electrical field, and of course, if you're standing, you're vertical, there's a magnetic field perpendicular to that. Now, when we're healthy, your energy field should be at least about 8 feet in diameter around you. But what I find when people practice energy exercise such as Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga, you can expand your energy field to be about 100 feet in diameter. And we've all had the experience of this. Say you're in a room and someone, we call it a large presence, walks in, and you can feel their energy just walking into the room. Right, Daniel?
Yes, absolutely. I worked with my heart chakra. I worked with it a lot. I've learned how to expand it. And there's a lot that is held in your energy field. Your Merkaba, which is kind of this double tetrahedron, which is part. Then the tree of life is held in your energy field. There is a double torus. A torus looks like a little bit like a donut and kind of radiates out horizontally from your heart chakra. There is the closer torus, and then there's the wider torus. And my wider torus of my heart chakra is about 1/4 mile in diameter. So I've worked with that specifically because part of my modality that I work with is that I pump heart love energy into my clients. I know how to focus this. I know how to, and so I've worked and worked and worked on expanding it, because the wider it is, the more power and the projection of my energies from my heart is.
Now, I want to also point out for our audience that the energy field, the human energy field, has been mapped at the Institute of Heart Math. Again, going back to this torus that Daniel Metraux is referring to. So again, you've got this vertical current and then this magnetic field perpendicular to that. Now, again, as Daniel mentioned, when we're healthy, this energy field is going to be like a sphere. However, there can be damage to your aura, tears in the aura, and, you know, different things happen like this. So, for example, I've had clients, they've gone through the scanners at the airport, and sometimes the scanners at the airport can cause disruptions in the energy field. I've had clients who've had, I had one client who had a diving accident. She had a severe diving fall, and it was such a severe fall that it actually tore the fabric of her energy field. And then abuse also, physical abuse, domestic violence, these sort of things can be very damaging, not just to us psychologically, but also can interfere with the etheric web of the body. So, Daniel Metraux, what do you find disrupts or tears the etheric fabric of our energy field?
Oh, there's a host of things, not the least of which are other entities that like to mooch off you. Not everybody on all levels of existence are basically friendly and conscientious and kind, but there's a few in the lower astral. There's a few rather nasty entities, and they will look at any opportunities. When you go to the hospital and you have surgery and you receive anesthesia, that can mess up your energy fields tremendously, because as you're under the influence of this anesthetic, you don't have your wherewithal to keep yourself protected. So there's a lot of dark energies that lurk around hospitals because they're looking for a meal ticket, and you are indeed. Drugs, recreational drugs, alcohol can do extraordinary damage. I mean, I'm not talking about a glass of wine in the evening. I'm talking about the person who consumes half a quart of heavy booze every day, the alcoholic. So there's like absolutely a whole slew of things. I've actually worked with 2 autistic kids that had 0 energy field. They had no energy field whatsoever. I had to build an energy field from scratch and give it to them. So there's all kinds of influences, trauma, any trauma, being frightened, being in terror, car accident, you name it, it can influence your energy field. Now, additionally to all these things, these are all somewhat external things that I mentioned, but what also happens is that your attitude, your belief system, your mind talk, all these things can, if you have a mind talk that you feel defective, that you feel not good enough, it's going to reflect in your energy field. It's not going to be its standard nice size. And I see people that have almost no energy field whatsoever, to those that have like 20, 30 foot diameter energy fields, because that's one of the things that I look at every time I work with them. So it's really important to keep your energy field clean.
Right. Now let's go back to some of the things that you mentioned. So what happens, this is my experience, that when we have tears in the energy field, and it's literally holes in your aura, that different things can come in. So I tell people, hey, I'm a really nice person, but if I leave my back door open, then raccoons and squirrels can come into my house. So you don't know. So Daniel mentioned negative spirit attachments. So highly trained healers such as Daniel and myself can do the spiritual release work. And for me, when I'm doing a release of a negative spirit attachment, there's really two parts. The first part is to release the negative spiritual energy, and I identify what it is. But the second, which is really important, is to actually repair the hole in the energy field. And I'll tell a story. I remember years ago, I had a client. She was another energy healer. She was a Psi K practitioner. And for 2 years, she had a severe case of obsessive compulsive disorder. She was wiping her hands and carrying around little bags of Kleenex. And what had happened was she'd had a disagreement with a client who ultimately passed away, and that person had literally attached to her. And my client had spent 2 years going from one healer after another trying to get better. But the healers had not actually looked at her energy field, and she had the largest hole in an aura that I'd ever seen. The hole in her aura was almost as big as her back. So like Daniel said, I had to go about repairing the hole in the aura. So Daniel, for our audience, can you explain how do you go about fixing the holes in the aura? We'll talk about the layers of the field and rebuilding the field, but first let's talk about fixing the holes in the aura. How do you do it?
All right, so I have an extraordinary wide array of tools, and all of my tools are in my imagination. There's no physical aspect to it, but I consider that work to be the aspect of my modality that I call psychic surgery. And so I have helpers that help me. It's like we're in an operating room and the doctor says, tweezer stat, and somebody hands him the tweezer. So depending on what is happening and what I encounter, I have a whole array of things that are given to me. One of the things that I have is I have a stack of large sheets of saran wrap. I call it my magical saran wrap. And so I will receive a sheet of the saran wrap, and I will kind of, in my mind, with my hands, I will kind of put it over the hole that is in the aura. And then there is kind of a spray bottle that I receive from my helpers that kind of has a magical water in it, some sort of a liquid that I then spray onto this saran wrap sheet kind of that I put over the hole. And then it turns that saran wrap into live aura boundaries. I see aura boundaries like the shimmering of a large soap bubble. There's kind of just this little bit of quality of rainbowish shimmering, moving about and creating this particular boundary is so specific, that is between your personal space and your world space. And so I put this on and I wet it, then I make sure that it is along the boundaries, that it is fully integrated, that it's kind of quote unquote sticks. And then I have two particular tubes that go into the heavens. One is a a chute that pumps light, and the other one is a chute that sucks whatever I put into it back into the light. And so I take the chute that sucks light. I have various attachments, various hoses, and I will plug one of the hose into the aura, and I will pump it up with light, so that, because when you just put this saran wrap over a hole of an egg, then it may not be nice and round. So now I will fluff it up from the inside. I will create pressure from the inside until it is fully integrated, egg-shaped, and you don't notice anymore that there was a tear or a hole or whatever it may have been that I fixed.
Now, very interesting. I'll share what I do. What I do is first step is I check the energetic grid of the body. So if you think about literally like graph paper, most of us have seen graph paper with little squares.
Right.
So I'll scan the body. I'll find where the hole is, where the hole or holes are, okay? And then generally, because I'm a Reiki master teacher, I'll put Reiki healing energy into the hole, and I will patch the hole. And again, first step, as I mentioned, is I remove anything that got in, and then I patch the hole. And after I patch the hole, frequently what I do is I teach people a very important technique called cocooning. And I'd like to share that with our audience now, because whoever you are, even if you have very good boundaries, you're going to feel even better if you cocoon your energy. So I'll share this, because this is a real simple way that you can clear your energy field on a daily basis and also protect your field. So this is what I like to do. First step I like to do is I encourage everybody to just rub your hands together just to gather some chi. And then I have everybody pass their hands over their head 3 times. And as you do this, you set your intention to clear your energy. Now, I grew up in the Christian tradition. I honor all spiritual traditions. And when I do this, I say, I clear my energy in the name of God the Father. I clear my energy in the name of the Holy Ghost. And I clear my energy in the name of Jesus the Son, God the Father, and in the Holy Ghost. Now, what's interesting is that even if you actually tune in, a lot of times you can actually feel yourself clearing energy. Now, what are you clearing? A lot of times, because we're around people, we're in different environments, we become like an energetic sponge, and we resonate with and pick up all kinds of energy. So, for example, you may have gone to the grocery this morning, and the person that you talked to behind the checkout counter may have been in a bad mood, and somehow you picked up that energy. Or you could be living with somebody and pick up that energy. So clearing your field is the first step. And then it's quite simple. The first step is, as you're cocooning yourself, you're literally calling in frequencies of light. And the first layer of the cocoon is white light. So you call in the white light of protection, and you're calling in the highest frequency that you can of divine light and love to protect your energy. And then around the white light, you call in the blue light of healing. Now, there's many different colors of blue. This, I'm sure our audience is aware. So this is sort of a clear turquoise type blue. So you put the blue light of healing around you, around the white light, and then finally around the blue light, you call in the golden light of transformation. And if you cocoon your energy on a daily basis, even if there's tears or breaks in your field, you're going to be less affected by that. So, Daniel, Metraux, what do you recommend that people do on a regular basis to protect their energy field?
Well, one of the, like you said, you interact with other people, and I mean, here you are in this little egg that kind of is outside of your boundaries of your body 2 or 3 feet. And now just imagine you're working in this high rise and rush hour in the morning and you all jam into the elevator. Well, all your energy fields are overlapping. And if you do not have a strong sense of yourself, where you have your purpose, you have your will, you have your choices, then you're very easily affected by the energies that you interact with during the day. So the thing that I find the most that people have is what I call debris. It looks like very heavy ashes in the smoke that is kind of in the air, and it fills your aura. And so what I recommend for people to do is to, when they take a shower at night or in the morning, that they imagine that, and everything happens with your imagination, that they pay attention to with the intention that it cleans them out, that they pay attention to the water stream that comes down, and it not only cleans your skin and washes off the soap, but it also goes through your energy field and will grab in the stream of water all these little particles, and imagine them that they're all going down the drain. And so it takes maybe 10 or 15 seconds taking a moment, 10, 15 seconds during your shower to imagine this, and sure enough, it will clean up your energy field, and you'll be able to face your world afresh. The other thing that I suggest to people, and that's interesting that you talk about cocooning, and that is part of that, which is your helpers, your spirit helpers, your guides, are also your guardian angels. There's the guardian angels, and many of them have wings. And so what you do is, as you go to sleep, you call upon one of those angels, and the angel will wrap you in their wings, and you will receive the love of the angel during the night. And you, in the morning when you wake up, you're ready to hop to and move into your world, fully recharged, fully rested, fully filled with the love of the divine, cleaned out from the shower that you took. And that's what I recommend my clients to do.
Yes, and in addition to using that visualization when we take a shower, and I also add in visualizing each color of the chakra. So you literally see your chakras open and balanced after you've rinsed your energy field. Another way, if you realize that you've picked up some energy, we'll call it unwanted energy during the day, that you take a bath. And this is a great healer's remedy. So many people who are energy healers, you know, if they're not protecting their energy properly, it's very easy to pick up energy. Or if you work in a public place or live in a large urban area like London or New York or Singapore or Tokyo, a real simple thing to do is to take a bath. In a regular bathtub, put 1 cup of Epsom salts and an equal amount of baking soda. So 1 cup baking soda, 1 cup Epsom salt. And you sit in there for at least 20 minutes, and it's going to clear your energy field. And this is a very powerful recommendation, especially for people who suffer from chronic fatigue, because a lot of times people are tired because they're picking up all these energies that they're not even aware of. Right, Daniel?
Yeah, they have no idea. The average person doesn't even know they have an energy field. I mean, I'm really surprised. You know, we go to school, we have phys ed, we train our bodies. Does anybody ever in high school, did they ever go through a class that talks about their energy field or talks about their emotions and what to do with them? No, we don't. We don't know. And so since your energy field is the most important part of you, I mean, if your energy field is off, eventually that will filter down into your physical being. And then all of a sudden, you know, if it's been off for enough of time, then some illness, some malady, some pain will appear in your body. It's a delayed reaction, but that's an indication that something is not right in your energy field. Now, what I also need to say here, which we talked about the energy field earlier, is that, and it's so redundant and so stupid when you think of it, is that your energy field holds your energies. Now, yes, of course your energy field holds your energies, but what are your energies? Your energies are anything that you can follow after the two words, I am. I am abundant. Abundance is an energy. And so anything except for physical attributes, that's not part of that. But anything that follows I am. So if you're generous, I am generous, that's an energy. Oh, I'm so much in scarcity, that is an energy. And if you hold these for a long time, then these energies can influence the way you look, your expression in your face. And if it's bad enough, you know, I'm hurt, and you're hurt long enough, then especially, for instance, if you cannot share love, then after a few years, you may actually have a heart attack.
Now, I want to go back to something that you said earlier, Daniel Metraux, which is you mentioned that drugs and alcohol, and I want to, and this is not to put any judgment on any of our listeners, but that's legal and illegal drugs actually cloud the energy field. And I remember years ago, I had a client who had fibromyalgia, long-term fibromyalgia patient. Well, her energy field looked like pig pen. If any of you remember this comic strip Peanut with Snoopy
Always.
and Lucy, and then there was Pigpen. Well, Pigpen was this little character who was like a cloud of dust. So what happens is when we're not able to keep our energy field clear, that weighs down your energy. It can make you feel tired and depressed and can affect your physical. But going back to what I was saying, I remember years ago I was teaching a class where I taught people how to see their own aura. And I had everybody get out large sheets of paper, and nobody thought they could see their energy field. And I taught them, and there it was. And I remember there was one gentleman, and he had been a drug addict 10 or 12 years previously. So he'd been off all the drugs, he'd been drug-free, but when I taught him to see his aura, he could literally see the drugs in his energy field. So in my professional opinion, one of the reasons to avoid major addictions is that they clog your energy field. And when your energy field is clogged with this debris, like Daniel is describing, then it interferes with our ability to access our soul guidance. Wouldn't you agree, Daniel?
Yes, totally, because your energy field is also your intermediary communication device with the universe, with the energies of the universe and with the energies of other people. And so if your energy field is messed up, then you don't get stuff, it doesn't come in, and you try to send it out, and it doesn't go out. That's one of the major reasons I talk to people about to keep your chakras clear. And there's 7 in the body, and there's, depending on the system that you use, I use the 12 chakra system. So there's another 5. And those are portals over which I simplify it, that they are your microphones and your loudspeakers to your world. And if your energy field is messed up, if something happened to your chakras, if they got tainted by, like you said, there's not only the illegal drugs, it's also the legal drugs. It's incredible to see what people's energy fields look like when they're on antidepressants. Antidepressants are made to, quote unquote, sugarcoat all the bad stuff that you're feeling that you can't deal with because you don't know how to deal with your negative emotions. And so then they give you a drug. And so this just ferments, so to speak, inside of your energy field. It clouds it up, it fogs it up, it twists your chakras. It creates circumstances where you cannot exchange energy anymore with the energies of other people, with the energies of the universe. You cannot receive the love of the divine when your energy field is messed up, because you're receiving your microphones to that love are messed up. They have maybe you know, when you see recording microphones during a recording, they have this pop filter on there, this little plastic thing. Well, look at this pop filter, but it's not to take the pops out, it's to just put a cover over your receiving device. And whatever they try to do, it's not going to work because they do not have the input.
Yeah, and you know, going back to that client that I taught to see his own aura, and he saw it for himself. He was shocked that the stupid drugs, the illegal drugs that he had taken were literally above his seventh chakra, and they were cutting off his connection from the divine. So this is some of the worst depressions of them all. So, you know, a lot of my clients want to access their intuition. They want to be able to access their own soul guidance. So if your own energy field is not clear, it's very difficult to get accurate information. I remember years ago, about 2 years ago, a client of mine brought me her young daughter. And my client said, oh, my daughter's an indigo child. Well, her daughter was on 3 psychiatric medications and smoked marijuana every day. And I said to the young lady, I said, well, you know, you may have soul gifts, as we all do, but the medications that you're taking are literally interfering with your soul guidance. And personally, I don't take drugs, legal or illegal. And it's part of what I do to keep my energy field clear in order to be accurate as a medical intuitive. So Daniel, Metraux, how important do you feel for people to keep their field clear if they want to access their intuition?
I think it is absolutely vital, important to do that, because not only to access, if they want to be intuitive, to be psychic, but for everything in life, you know. I look at people. That's one of the things I do when I do my life essence reading, where I look at over 80 components in their energy field, but I look at their chakras. And I can see in there, your psychic center is in your third eye. And I look into the third eye. And some people have well-developed third eye. Well, one of the things that I tell them is, you know how to read between the lines. You get it. You know, it's like the trickster that comes and smiles at you, and you think everything's cool because he smiles, but he has ulterior motives, and after a while he will lay his trap and he will somehow defraud you of something. Well, if you're psychic, you will feel that something is fishy, something is not right. I remember at one point I went to a Saturday market in Coconut Grove, and one side of the Saturday market was the better section, and on the other side was the poorer section. And there's a guy that cased me, and I had my little man clutch under my arm, and his intention was to come and grab it. And maybe 2 seconds, he was already making his move. As he was reaching for it, I turned around because I felt something was not right. I wasn't facing him. He was behind me. I didn't see him. There was no shadow moving, nothing. But I knew something was not right. That was because my third eye was clear. And so that is the purpose for you to keep your energies, your chakras, your aura clean, because now you get input on all kinds of other levels that you normally don't get. When you look at the range of this total spectrum that is available, and you look at what you can see, this one octave from the red into the violet, and how small a little sliver that is, and you look at the 50 to about 12,000 hertz that you hear in, how small that is compared to the whole. Well, when you become psychic, you have access to other senses. You have access to the ultraviolet spectrum, which is enormous. You have access to the infrared spectrum. You have access to the ultrasound spectrum, which is almost infinite. You have access to electromagnetics, and you have access to electricity. The electricity that every living thing creates and sends out, uses electricity. We have a voltage in our cells. And if you add these extrasensory perception to you, it creates such an enormous larger range and a larger spectrum that you have information available. And, you know, both definitely you may not know specifically, but you are accessing in that range, and you get impressions, and you know, you see pictures, or you hear words, or you get gestalts, and you understand what's happening because you perceive beyond the range of your regular five senses. And for you personally, and for our listeners, for you to want to access this range of information that is available to all of us, we all intrinsically are able to be what is called psychic, the sixth sense, because we're born with it. It's just that we don't use it because we have the other five senses, and eventually we forget.
Yes.
So
And your energy field becomes clogged up, and it's hard to read. Now, Daniel,
yes.
let's also, for the benefit of our audience, let's also talk about some suggestions on ways people can protect their energy field. Now, let me add also that it's my view, not that I know anything, but it's all one energy, right? It's all, there's oneness. But within this one energy, there's different vibrations. That's why there's salt and there's pepper. And the demonic is here, the angelic is here. It's all about what we focus on. But when I want to stay in my center, there's certain things that I can do. So I'm going to offer some suggestions. When I'm doing energy healing, one of the most important things to do is to start with prayer, where you're calling in divine assistance. And one of my mantras that I say, I was doing energy healing this morning actually, I'll say, I invoke the light of the divine, of the God. I invoke the light of the God within. I am a clear and perfect channel. Love and light are my guides. Now, I feel that many healers do best if they wear purple around their wrists. When you wear purple around your wrist, what it does is it cuts off you taking on other energies that are not yours when you're doing energy healing. Wearing white clothing is very helpful. I rarely wear black at all. And I rarely wear black when I'm doing any healing work because black absorbs energy, whereas white helps to radiate this white light of protection. You can use flower essences. There is a wonderful essence called Soul Shield Plus, made by my dear friend Don Dennis of healingorchids.com. Australian flower essences make another flower essence for protection called Fringed Violet. And you can take these essences internally, you can spray them around the room. You can use an essential oil. There's a really great essential oil called White Angelica that you can put on your shoulders or again, spray in the room. Some other suggestions that you have for people on keeping their energy protected, Daniel?
Well, the one that I found to be the most effective is to I have to back up a little for you, for us to understand what I'm saying here. Everything in nature gives off more energy than what it receives. Trees do. Look at a dog. The dog will love you forever. It's right there, and you can beat it up, and it's still there, loving you. So continuously, everything our Earth gives off more energy. The sun, of course, it gives more energy than what it takes. But the other planets in our solar system give off more energy. So trees, plants, minerals, animals, except for humans. And why is that? Well, humans are brought up in an environment of scarcity and lackfulness. And so we need energy. We do need energy. So if we don't know where to receive it, then we tend to scan the horizon and say, where's mine? Where's my energy? Where's my energy? Where am I going to get it from? And so people continuously suck energy out of their environment. And the environment, for the most part, is pretty tainted. So they suck in this tainted energy, and then they wonder why they're so miserable. Well, I have found two sources of energies that are absolutely pure and untainted. One is the energy from Mother Earth. She loves us dearly. She will continuously give us energy. That's the ground. But then also above us, above our crown chakra, is our life force. And our life force it's an energy, in a sense, it's an energy form of who you are when you're not physical. But that energy form is still with you when you are physical. Your soul is with you. It's your eternal self. And your higher self and the divine. They continuously give you energy, but you need to be aware of that. And so I get energy through my crown chakra. I get energy from the earth. And when it comes together in the heart, in my heart chamber, the white light and the red light form the pink light that I then project out of my heart. And so I'm a net heart energy outputter. There's maybe 5% of people do that. The other 95 don't. And when you put out love into your environment, then it's like the bad stuff cannot, quote unquote, swim upstream because you're not sucking it in. You're pushing that heart, that love energy out. And so with that, I'm totally protected. I'm protected 24/7. I do really bad spell removals. I do really deep stuff and disconnect from very, very bad entities. And nothing ever so far has come back and bit me because they cannot get to me. I'm protected. I can go in there and surgically remove attachments, awful creatures that I see, really tricky tricksters. In Harry Potter, Voldemort has these Horcruxes. The Horcruxes are additional places where he stashed his life. And so whenever his life was exhausted here, he'd go to one of his Horcruxes and he would re-infuse himself with his life. Well, many negative entities do the same thing. They're almost indestructible.
Now, Daniel, I'm going to interrupt you because sometimes what we're having to deal with is not actually evil energy, but simply people doing their normal thing. I'll give an example. I had a client a couple of years ago, and she is a priest, and her job at the time was to sit with people while they're dying. Okay, now everybody is going to die. It's part of life. And she didn't understand how to manage her energy. She'd gone to divinity school, learned a tremendous amount, was a woman of God, but the energy that it took to hold the hand of someone who was dying, and she said, literally, she went to work and somebody died every day because she was a hospital chaplain. And I talked to her about what she needed to do so that she could be fully present with someone and not take on the trauma or the grief of their passing. And at any rate, again, it's very important that we learn how to do these things. A good affirmation that I like to use is, I set my intention that nothing comes in and nothing goes out except unconditional love. And if the only thing that comes in and the only thing that goes out is unconditional love, then you're good. So Daniel Metraux of DanielTheHealer.com, we're coming to a close. Any final thoughts for our audience?
Yes, I do. Number one, when we already went over this, keep yourself energetically clean. Find places where you can get some techniques, read up, go on the internet, see what you can do. You can also cleanse yourself by the elements. You can go into the earth. You can go through fire. You can have the wind blow things away, and in your imagination you can go through water. But what I like to share mostly with everybody is that we're in an extraordinary time, a time that has nothing ever been like today, like what is happening right now currently in our society, in our environment, in our world. We're moving into the heaven on earth times. And so be ready for that. Keep your energies up, radiate light so that you can be part of going into the new reality, from the rule of law to the rule of love, where people will love each other. This is the most exciting, the most extraordinary times ever. Seize your opportunity, become part of this beautiful new reality that is upon us. Keep yourself energetically clean so that you can find the door and step through.
Thank you, Daniel Metraux. You can find out more about Daniel Metraux, Energy Healer, at DanielTheHealer.com. This is Catherine Carrigan, medical intuitive healer and Amazon #1 best-selling author. You can find out more about me and my work at CatherineCarrigan.com and UnlimitedEnergyNow.com. While you're there, definitely sign up for my newsletter so you can learn even more about how to heal yourself naturally. And remember, as you keep your energy field clean, you'll be able to access your soul guidance, your intuition. You're going to feel good, have more energy, and radiate love and light. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.